Hey everyone, this is jmartin from twreplays.com, and today I have a 2v2 on Grassy Flats. The teams are random. I play as Prussia, and I'm sort of getting my army into position right now. Playing on my team is ricdog, and he plays as GB. I'll get a better look at his army here in a minute. Rules were no artillery, so you're not going to see any of that. And I had a build I wanted to try out. I saw somebody do something similar in one of their videos, and the idea was on one of the flanks put a bunch of elites. So I have 4 foot guards over here, and I've got 2 meat shields in front of them. And then sort of in the center, or on the right side of my line, I have a bunch of regular musketeers backed up by some lights. And the idea was to use your more innocent-looking flank with only a handful of infantry on it, but high-quality infantry to try to turn that flank and divert your opponent's attention to your bigger group of troops over here, where really you're just going to try to hold the line and maybe push back their middle with extra firepower. So my build is the 2 militia, 4 foot guards, 6 musketeers, 4 lights over here, and I've got a general staff and the 2 unique light cav units from Prussia. My buddy ricdog has, well, let's see, I think he's got 4 cav, pretty standard kind of stuff. He's got a couple rifles, a couple lights, and then the rest of the line infantry with, I think that's the 3-star general for GB right there. And our opponents, which are going to show up here pretty soon. Let me fast forward till they pop up. There we go. And I'm playing against Saintonge, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. He plays as France, and he's got 4 cav units, and he's got all his infantry arranged in a line here. Looks like there's about 8 line units, and I think he has 3 chasseurs up front that are hidden currently. The other opponent, MooNiGht, is also France, and I think these guys are actually French. Their chat seemed to get that feeling they were talking in French a little bit to each other. And so he's got some lights, and he's got a lot of line, and only 2 or 3 cav units. Yeah, 3 cav units. And that's the deal. So I'm going to fast forward in the action a little bit and get you a little closer. Okay, at this point, I guess both our opponents just kind of sat there in the deployment zone, so it took a long time to walk up. And you can see he's got these 2 old guard units over here on the right, which is actually pretty good for me because that's where I have my lights at, and they can shoot at them pretty good. And he actually had volts, and you see he dropped a stake line all across his center with his cav all to his right and my left. And my little strategy of bringing my foot guards on the left, that works out really good for me, because I can just, you know, if I can score up, they'll chew through these horse units without much of a problem. And then you can see over here, I outnumber them pretty good, I think, so I can just kind of wrap my line around and get some flanking fire on these old guard, which is what you need to take them down. And over on this flank, ricdog is kind of doing the same thing. He had to walk all the way across the map, and he's gonna, you know, start to engage here on the left of his opponent. So I think we're about to start the skirmish fight, and walking my trusty militia up front to take the hits from these line units. One thing I think is kind of interesting is if you're going to bring only 3 light units, you need to be a little more aggressive with getting your line in the actual firefight, because at this point I'm trying to bunch my lights up to focus fire on, you know, these volts or these volts. So I'll have a 2-to-1 range superiority, 2-to-1 light superiority there, and he doesn't really seem to adjust to that, and he doesn't really seem to adjust to me whipping or trying to whip 2 line units around to the side to get flanking fire here. And all he's really got are this unit of dragoons, which isn't going to slow down 2 line units, assuming I can actually get into square. So the way that side plays out is actually pretty predictable, in my opinion. Over here, I'm trying to get the foot guards into firing position, and I think I actually managed to start running my militia up there. And light skirmishing has started, obviously. And there go the militia. And I think, yeah, and follow up with the foot guard. Probably could have had a little bit better timing on this. A little bit better timing. And I make what is arguably sort of an error. You can see I'm trying to bring my cav in here to, you know, support from an eventual cav charge. And I think that wound up being unnecessary. And I kind of waste my cav on sort of a useless gesture. My lines also get a tad disorganized here. You know, I've got, these guys aren't really participating. But anyway, my plan here is just to hope to shoot it out with my foot guard against his guys. And I gotta do something about these Chesters or Cheval, because they're gonna shoot me up in the flank. Shoot me up in the flank pretty good. Move my cav in to support, and really trying to draw this cav down here so I can just square up and take care of him. He squares this young guard really prematurely, I think, which lets me get some quality fire in on him. And over here, we just kind of have a massive firepower that I think will eventually overwhelm. Those young guards are going to take forever to kill, but that's what young guards do. So I charge one of my cav units into these shooter cav because they're annoying, putting fire on the flank of my foot guard. And I sort of cause a general cav melee, which probably is a bad idea. You generally don't want to do that. You want to use your cav to disrupt his infantry, but I thought it was an okay plan because I felt that I would win the infantry fight. I outnumber him pretty good. And I pretty much just wanted to neutralize these units. I wouldn't mind if they came back 3 or 4 minutes later, but if I could keep them busy and let my foot guards do their work, then I thought it would turn out pretty good. And so that's kind of what I did. This is, you know, am I going to form square there or not? Back and forth, and you can see over there, finally right in these lights, I've got my line and lights all putting fire on these line units. So I'm pretty confident I'm putting this together. Sure enough, he wins the cav fight, and at this point I think maybe he could have won the battle if these guys would have been put to use, but instead he doesn't really maneuver and just kind of, I'm willing to accept the fire superiority. There we go. So his cav comes in, sort of the blind charge on these foot guards. Not a whole lot of support. I guess there's these guys here, but so he charges in, pulls back, you know, does about 5 casualties there, and that's fine. You know, my thought at this point was, as long as things remain as they are, eventually I should be able to take this. And eventually I rout this old guard unit pretty quick, and I get to keep moving on up. Over here, ricdog and MooNiGht didn't follow their battle real well. It looks pretty even to me. Looks like the French player, if he wanted, could, you know, is going to win here. Could probably envelop that whole army, but we'll see how that develops. And you can see I'm sort of slowly but steadily winning the firefight here. These line units are all pretty depleted. Routed the first old guard unit, and working real hard in the second one. I'm able to start wrapping around and put a lot of fire on its flank. And his cav is just kind of still chilling. I think they finally make a move. This foot guard unit is too depleted to form into square, so it's a pretty good time. Yeah, actually pulled them back. And yeah, so I pull this musketeer unit out to hold the flank. really just a matter of time. And I'm actually going to fast forward here a little bit so that you don't have to watch just kind of a boring shootout. So picking back up the action, this is the other flank between ricdog and MooNiGht. And it looks like the French player has a pretty commanding advantage at this point. There's only a handful of British line units left, like 3 of them. And Grenadiers in action. Don't see that very often. So what I wanted to show you is, this is kind of fun. So the French player outnumbers like 5 to 3, or pretty substantial advantage. Some pretty well stocked units left for the French player. And something kind of fun happens here in a sec. You're about to see the power of, oh, that wasn't very smart. About to see the power of a GB line unit, because I believe it's these guys here are gonna go through all of these French units. About now, I'd actually turned around and my army's moving. You know, I've finished my opponent off, so my armies are moving this direction. And the French guy just has a horde of problems. Oh, there goes the first one. Is gonna route. Yeah, there's an old guard unit. They're gonna take care of that. And so all the GB player has really is this little German Legion. And I'm gonna click fast forward and just kind of watch the brutal carnage that this unit is able to dish out. There's, you know, not 1, not 2, but 3. Well, they're kind of bunched up poorly. Units there, and he's gonna just mow right through them. These Fusiliers look like they're coming in for a melee charge. Not gonna last that long. Crunch. Here comes the next one. Crunch. I kind of disagree with the French player's strategy here. I think if it was me, I just would have surrounded him and put fire on him. You got 4 units. Let's take advantage of that. But there goes the first line unit, and the second one's going to go here in a sec. Yep, there it goes. And what do we got left? We got a National Guard and an Old Guard. And somehow the French player took this overwhelming advantage and sort of managed to lose it. I think this National Guard is probably going to rout here in a second. I don't know why he's running these Old Guard away. Their Inspire effect would be really nice to have for this National. Yep, there they go. And so now we're down to the GB foot and Old Guard, and their GB actually outnumbers them there. It doesn't matter, obviously, but because I've got about 10 units still in the field. But this little guy, they earned their money today. And yeah, they actually win. So they kick down that Old Guard, and there you go. So the battle's over at this point. It's just mopping up, and I want to say good game to everyone who played. I had a good time. And check us out at twreplays.com. We have 2 tournaments open for registration right now, a 1v1 and a 3v3. So if that interests you, registration is open and you are welcome to play. Thanks for watching.